What is going on, everyone? I hope you're all doing well. Today we have got another tech news roundup as we're going to be going through a few stories. The first is concerning NVIDIA's next-gen graphics cards. I also have a follow-up to yesterday's video on the Threadripper processors, the second generation of Threadripper that is, and EA has now added an additional tier to its Origin Access program, which makes it more of a Netflix-like subscription, so we're going to get fired into all of that. But first, today's video is brought to you by ZeroAnd9.com, where you could save money on PC games for all of your favorite platforms like Steam, Origin, Uplay, and more, as well as software like Windows 10 Pro or Microsoft Office Pro 2016. And if you use the code JOKERW at checkout, you can save 22% off your copy of Windows, which would bring the price down to $12.47, or you could use the code JOKER-S at checkout, where you can save 10% on the entire website for anything you pick up over there. Please check out the link down in the description below. Now, as I said, our first story is concerning NVIDIA, which we have been talking about for months. These rumored cards that are going to be coming out. We thought it was going to be Volta, then it was going to be Ampere, then it was going to be Turing, yada, yada, yada. We've had the fake news, the rumors, everything. And now we actually have something that looks like it could be concrete, but we really don't know what it means. It's just, we're kind of assuming that maybe it's going to be about the graphics, the new graphics cards, but we just don't know yet. But basically, NVIDIA is going to be holding a secret event prior to Gamescom starting, the day before Gamescom is actually beginning, and they've already started to send out a secret invitation to many members of the tech press, inviting them out to this event right before Gamescom begins. Now, Gamescom is meant to be kicking off on August 21st and will run until August 25th, but the invitation, as we can see here over on Guru 3D, actually says it's going to be kicking off on the 20th at 5:30 p.m. and there will be limited space, so make sure you arrive early. If you can't make it in person, don't worry, the event is going to be live streamed. Now, this is coming on August 20th, so we've only got about 20 days to go here, and many people in the tech press right now are, making the assertion that this is going to be the announcement of the new Turing graphics cards. There's nothing really in this invitation that would make it stand out as to saying it's specifically about graphics cards, but everyone is assuming that these are going to be releasing on the 30th based on the last rumor that we had discussed. But yeah, we just really don't know quite yet, but this is the latest information we have so far to go off of. So do you think it's going to be announced on the 20th? Let me know down in the comments below. Based on this, I would say it seems like a pretty fair assumption that they'll probably reveal the graphics cards at this event rather than waiting an additional 10 days to announce it, if that's, the actual time it's coming out. They might not come out till next year. We really don't know. But this is kind of starting to all add up, and I think it makes sense. The next story I wanted to cover is just a follow-up to what I was talking about yesterday with Threadripper on the specs of it. We actually got a screen grab of the new Threadripper 2990WX. We don't know what the W actually stands for, but it's shown up a couple of times it was on the hardware bot listing that we talked about yesterday. It's also in this CPU-Z screenshot, and we could see the 2990WX, that's the 32-core, 64-thread version of the upcoming Threadripper CPU running on Pinnacle Ridge, and it shows what we believe is the boost clock speed on one of the cores, at least at 4.1 gigahertz. Now, just to remind you, yesterday, if you look at this graph here over on video cards, you could see, or the table, I should say, not graph, it shows the base clock at 3.4 gigahertz. That was originally sourced from HardwareBot. That's what we covered yesterday. But now it's showing a boost clock of 4.1 gigahertz, still remaining with the 250 watt TDP, which is, lining up with what we're seeing now here in the CPU-Z screenshot. Really can't learn a whole lot else from this, except that it is, looking like the information we got yesterday is accurate, and now we know the boost clock speed of 4.1 gigahertz on XFR. So what does this mean for overclocking? Well, if what we saw on the second generation Ryzen processors earlier this year is anything to go by, we're probably looking at seeing overclock stable at 4 gigahertz, maybe to 4.1, possibly even 4.2 across all cores. We really just won't know until they come out, but no doubt it will, take a decent amount of cooling to actually cool down this 250 watt part, and I'm very excited to see these, and hopefully 4.1 gigahertz on all cores would be great with a Ryzen Threadripper CPU when you're talking about as many cores as this thing is going to have. This next story is something that I've kind of been alluding to for a while, something that I've wanted to see. Microsoft kicked off something kind of similar to this earlier in the year where you could get newly released games on the day they came out, and it was kind of like a Netflix subscription service. You pay a monthly fee. With Origin, you can actually pay an annual fee at a reduced discount, and you'll get access to all of their new games that come out, as well as back catalogs, and you get to try games out before they come out. Now, they've had Origin Access for a while. I actually have an Origin Access subscription, and they actually have it on Origin right now. You can go over there, you can get it, and this will pretty much get you all the EA games if you get the Premier version. Now, if we look at this, you can see the basic version. This is what I currently have. It's $5 a month, or you can pay $30 for the entire year, which is a pretty good discount compared to paying for it monthly. And you do get 10-hour trials of games like when they first come out, actually before they even come out. So like when Battlefield 5 comes out later this year, usually like about a week ahead of time, you can download and start playing the game before anyone else that's going to actually buy it. But you're limited for only 10 hours, and in some games, the single player can be locked to maybe only the first few levels. So you're kind of limited there, but it's a good way to at least try games. That's kind of what we've fallen into now in 2018, is that you need to pay to play demos, which is ridiculous, because I remember years ago, we actually just had demos, and they were free. It was to entice you to maybe want to buy the game, but now you have to pay for just the privilege. EA logic. And yeah, and you also get 10% off of any Origin purchases. Now, the way that they're expanding on that here with Premier is they're going to be $15 a month, which is a little steep, or you can do $100 a year, which, if you do the math, is a pretty decent discount. I think it's, I don't know, it's less. It's like, what is it, like $70, $80? I don't know. Let's do some math here. So according to my calculations, which I just did on my calculator app, $15 a month would add up to $180, or you could pay $100 a year, which is kind of a lot to put out up front, but I guess it would make sense if you're planning to get, you know, more than 2 games. Games come out for EA, they're $60, you know, no questions asked. This is going to get you the full game, so you have full unlimited access to it. You can play completely, which is pretty nice. I think I'm probably going to end up getting this because there are some EA titles coming out, you know, that I'm going to want to get. Battlefield 5, obviously. Madden NFL 19 is finally coming back to the PC this year, and I can't wait to try it out. So even just for those 2 games alone, if those are the only 2 EA games that I'm personally going to play, I think it makes sense for me at least to get this, and especially as someone that is doing, you know, tech reviews and game coverage, you know, for a living, I think it makes a lot of sense specifically, you know, for someone like me. You'll have to, of course, you know, make it up on a case-by-case basis. You may just have an absolute hatred for EA. You may not want to give them any money, which is completely understandable. But I think if you're going to play more than 2 EA titles a year, like Battlefield 5 and Anthem, let's say, or Madden 19 or the new FIFA, you know, what have you, it makes a lot of sense to, you know, pay the $100, and then you get access to all the games that come out, and then you get to play them early as well, just like the early access that you get with the $5 or regular Origin access. You get with the Premier as well, except you get to keep the game. You know, you get to keep the game as soon as you could start playing. You can play it before people, and you get to keep it. So this is not paid for by EA, by the way. But I think this is good, and I think it's really going to be pretty telling as to where the industry is probably going to go as a whole in the future. And I would definitely be curious to see your feedback on that down in the comments below. How do you feel about, you know, something like this with EA doing a subscription-based service, $100 a year, where you get to play all of their titles? I could certainly see another company like Ubisoft doing this, maybe even like Battle.net for stuff like Overwatch, although they don't really come out with new games often enough to really justify paying them $100 a year, I don't think. I mean, Overwatch came out, what, like 2 years ago now, and what have they come out with since then? So I don't think they come out with enough games, but companies like Ubisoft, they definitely come out with enough games a year. EA comes out with many titles per year, big AAA titles that a lot of people want to play. So for companies like that, I think it makes a lot of sense. I sincerely doubt we'll see anything like this on Steam, since it's not just first-party games. With EA, they're pretty much doing it with their first-party titles. The same could be true of Ubisoft and Uplay if they decided to do something like this. Microsoft is already doing it as well. So seeing more big publishers doing this could make a lot of sense moving ahead in the future. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Would you subscribe to something like this from EA, or maybe from Uplay if they came out with something like it as well? Let me know and let's discuss, as I look forward to that as always. If you enjoyed this video or learned something new, don't forget to stick a like on it down below and subscribe if you're not already, and I will catch you all tomorrow for another video. Ta-ra.